When I first took the job at Graymarsh Lighthouse, I wasn't looking for adventure, just silence. After my divorce and a career that collapsed faster than I could drink it away, the idea of being alone on a rock in the middle of the Atlantic sounded like peace. No phone, no internet, just wind, sea, and time. Graymarsh wasn't like the other lighthouses along the Maine coast. It stood on its own tiny island, barely a sliver of stone, constantly beaten by waves and fog. Supply boats came twice a month. The previous keeper, old Jenkins, had gone missing 6 weeks before I arrived. They said it was an accident, slipped during a storm, but locals avoided talking about it for too long. Whenever I mentioned his name, their faces went pale, and they'd change the subject. The first few nights were ordinary. I cleaned the glass, checked the oil generator, logged the weather. But on the fourth night, the fog rolled in thick, heavier than I'd ever seen. It was alive, swallowing the ocean and pressing against the tower windows like a breath on glass. And then I heard it, faint, through the static of the radio. "Thomas, the light is fading." I froze. The radio hissed again, but no one was transmitting. The coast station only broadcasted weather updates at dawn. I leaned closer. "Thomas, the light is fading." The voice was quiet, distant, a whisper carried over the sea. But it wasn't the sound that terrified me. It was that it said my name. I tried to laugh it off. Isolation does strange things to your head, I told myself. Maybe it was feedback, or a fisherman playing a trick. Still, I found myself checking every lock on the door that night. Around 2 a.m., I woke up to the foghorn blaring nonstop. I went up the spiral stairs to shut it off, but halfway up, I saw something through the window. At first, I thought it was a reflection, the beam of light cutting through fog. But as I looked closer, I realized someone was standing on the rocks below the tower, a dark silhouette facing the sea. And when the light swept over them, they didn't move, didn't blink, just stood there. And then, as the fog swallowed them again, I heard the voice once more. "Don't let the light die." The next morning, I checked the shoreline. No footprints, just seaweed and shattered shells. I tried the radio, but it only emitted static until I switched to an emergency frequency. That's when I heard breathing. Slow, wet, uneven, like someone exhaling underwater. Then the voice returned. "You let it fade once. Don't do it again." I slammed the radio off. By the end of the week, the fog had not lifted. My sleep was shallow. The nights felt endless. Sometimes I'd hear faint knocks coming from beneath the metal floor. Rhythmic, deliberate. 3 taps. Pause. 3 more. Like someone counting time from under the island. I checked the maintenance logs Jenkins left behind. On the last page, his handwriting was shaky, desperate. "The light doesn't keep them away anymore. It calls them." At midnight, I decided to test the generator. When I opened the hatch to the lower chamber, a gust of cold, salty air rushed up, the kind that belongs deep underwater, not in a lighthouse basement. The staircase was slick with condensation, and from below came the faint sound of waves, but slower, heavier, like something breathing through the rock itself. I followed the sound down, flashlight trembling. At the bottom, I found the backup oil tank, and next to it, an opening I hadn't seen before. A narrow passage carved into stone, leading downward, dripping with seawater. There was something glinting inside. I stepped closer and saw metal, a bell, half buried in coral growth. It looked ancient, like it had been pulled from a shipwreck, and carved into it, my name, Thomas Reed. I stumbled back. My flashlight flickered, and for a moment, I saw something standing in the tunnel, tall, pale, water streaming down its face. Not a man, not anymore. Its eyes reflected the beam of my light like wet glass, and its lips moved silently before a whisper filled the air. "Keep the light burning, or I'll take your place." When I woke up, it was dawn. I was back in my bed, soaked to the skin. The radio was silent, the fog was gone, and on the desk, beside the logbook, lay a fresh page written in my own handwriting, words I don't remember writing. The light must never go out. And as I climbed the tower that morning, I looked out across the endless ocean, and there, on a distant rock, I saw the silhouette again, still watching, still waiting.